is the Hindu god of destruction. He is part of the great Hindu trinity alongside Vishnu and Brahma. Often, he is depicted in a sitting position with his legs crossed, holding a trident in his hand. The trident is known as Trishula, and with it, this god destroys the ignorance found in humans. Around Shiva's neck, there is a Naja, one of nature's most deadly creatures. The symbolism of this neck-enwrapping cobra points to his victory over death. The god also has a third eye, which he can destroy any living being with just a simple glance. When in the form of Rudra, the god assumes his most dreadful and ferocious form. Although he is the god of destruction, this deity is also associated with rebirth and transformation. As a transforming god, he took part in the world creation. The sacred Ganges River, which bathes a considerable share of India, owes its existence to Shiva. The river is the personification of the goddess Ganga, who descended from heaven grabbing Shiva's braided hair in order to reach the earth and purify men's sins. When in his form Shiva Nataraja, this god reveals his happier side as the cosmic dancer, and his dances represent the cycles of the universe's creation and destruction, as well as the reincarnation cycles. The god of destruction has the goddess Parvati as his most famous wife, who is a loving goddess and devoted mother, symbolizing fertility. But the goddess can appear as Kali, who, like her husband, is also a deity related to destruction, the grim reaper of lives. Shiva is the god of yoga, and for that reason, he is also known as the great yogi. Yoga is a set of philosophical, religious, and psychophysical practices whose aim is to transcend the limitations of the body and consciousness. Shiva is one of the key gods of Hinduism. In India, there is a cult where Shiva is regarded as the supreme god. This tradition is known as Shivaism, which has a major influence in modern Hinduism, currently practiced in India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. Shiva is a highly complex god, and he participates in countless stories. This video only wants to make a small presentation of this god, who is extremely important to the Hindu religion. I'm currently crafting a video series with which we will extensively increase our knowledge of Indian religion, knowing its most diverse gods and heroes, along with their fascinating quests. Brahma is the deity that represents the universe's creative force. He is part of the Trimurti, the great Hindu trinity, alongside Shiva and Vishnu. The god stands for balance, while Shiva and Vishnu represent two opposing forces, destruction and maintenance. Brahma is the master of time, and one day, for the god, is the equivalent of 4,320 million years for a mortal being. In the dawn of time, he created Saraswati, the beautiful goddess of superior knowledge, who would become his consort and take part in the creation of the universe. Therefore, every human being derives from Brahma. Brahma is depicted with 4 heads, each reciting one of the 4 Vedas, and each looking in a different direction. He had a 5th head initially, but Shiva ripped it off, after that head dared to insult the god of destruction. This god has 4 arms as well. He holds a rosary in one of them, symbolizing the cycles of time to which the universe obeys. A book that symbolizes knowledge is held in another. He holds the pot with holy water in the third, symbolizing the cosmic energy. There is a lotus flower in the 4th and last hand, a symbol of the nature and essence of life. The god crosses the universe riding a divine swan. The animal is capable of distinguishing pure milk from milk mixed with water. This means the ability to distinguish good from evil. Although a prominent deity in Hinduism, Brahma only has a large temple in his honor, unlike Vishnu and Shiva, who have temples spread all over India. It is located in Pushkar, where Brahma defeated a demon with a lotus flower. The flower petals fell in that location and turned the region into a sacred place. During the Kartika Purnima festival, those who bathe themselves on the sacred lake will be freed from their sins. Brahma was expected to conduct a sacrificial rite in Pushkar with his wife, but as Saraswati was late for the arrival, the god married the beautiful Gayatri and started the ritual with a new wife. When Saraswati encountered Brahma with his new wife, she enragingly cursed Brahma. The god was now bounded to be worshipped in Pushkar only, and that is why there are no other great temples in honor to Brahma. The growing cult of Krishna and Vishnu diminished the importance of Brahma, but the god of creation and true knowledge is especially honored by those who make use of knowledge in their professions, such as teachers, students, and scientists. And, with the help of God, they can walk towards the true knowledge. Indra, the supreme god of the Vedic tradition, is one of the oldest gods in the Hindu pantheon. He is a Rigvedic deity, therefore, Indra has a strong presence in the Vedas, the four pivotal works of Hindu culture. Indra is the son of heaven and earth and the twin brother of Agni, a fire-related deity. Shachi, the goddess of beauty, is his consort, and together they give birth to several descendants. Indra is the god of the sky, the seasons of the year, and the lord of lightning and thunder, but he is also regarded as the god of war, and as a warrior deity, he fought several enemies. The god fought his enemies relying on powerful lightning strikes, and due to his connection with lightning and thunder, he was also considered the god responsible for rain. Indra was an enemy of Vritra, a powerful serpent that personified drought itself. The creature blocked the course of the rivers, turning the land into a giant infertile desert. Indra fought the creature and, with his powerful lightning strikes, killed the serpent. The god tore the monster's belly and released all the waters that had been trapped. Indra's win over Vritra allowed fertility, prosperity, and happiness to spread all over the world. Indra is a god with great appetite and he loves to drink. His favorite drink is soma, made from hallucinogenic plants. Whenever he drank this ritualistic beverage, the god swelled and covered the whole sky. As a sky deity, he poured out the rain needed to preserve life. Indra is often depicted on his four-tusked white elephant known as Airavata, the lord of all the other elephants. Sometimes he is depicted parading in the skies on his golden chariot, followed by the Ashvins, the twin gods of medicine. As the centuries went by, Indra's position as supreme god began to be challenged by new emerging traditions. Deities like Shiva and Vishnu started to take the place that formerly belonged to Indra, and, with this, the god's reputation decreased with the years. According to some stories, Indra felt quite upset with people who were once devoted to him and started to worship the new gods. Therefore, Indra assembled a powerful and destructive storm to punish his former devotees. But Vishnu, the god of conservation, prevented that catastrophe by raising a great mountain, obstructing the storm's trajectory. Although he has lost much of his prestige, Indra, the sky god, is still respected and revered by the different currents of Hinduism. Vishnu is one of the most important deities in Hinduism. Together with Shiva and Brahma, they are the supreme trinity of the Indian god pantheon. While Brahma is a creative entity and Shiva is a deity connected to destruction, Vishnu is a deity of preservation. Vishnu is the god accountable for maintaining order in the universe. He symbolizes kindness, morality, and mercy. This god is the protector of humanity against the evil forces that assail men. This god has the gift of omniscience, strength, energy, robustness, and splendor. Vishnu is depicted as a four-armed figure. He holds a lotus flower in one hand, a symbol of purity. There is a disc of energy, known as the chakra, in another hand, which represents the mind and its creativity. A shell is carried in his third hand. The sound that gave rise to the universe can be heard when blown. And finally, he holds one of the most powerful weapons of the Hindu religion. Snakes protect and shelter him over his head. These snakes symbolize human desires, and the fact that Vishnu lies comfortably on the serpents symbolizes the god's victory over desires and temptations. This god is married to Lakshmi, a goddess related to prosperity. Vishnu can cross the whole world with only 3 giant steps. This god has Garuda, the solar bird, as his mount, a chief deity of the birds of prey and snake hunter. This mythological creature symbolizes the struggle between good and evil. After the creation of the universe, Vishnu visited the world of men several times, embodying his avatars. Vishnu embodies one of his new avatars whenever the world is in great danger or need. When a great flood threatened to engulf the whole land in water, the fish-shaped god named Matsya taught Manu how to build a vessel and escape the flood. When the waters receded, Manu used the seeds kept in his boat to fill the land devastated by the flood with life. These are some of the most famous Vishnu avatars: Rama, the great hero of the epic Ramayana, and the famous Krishna. Both will be analyzed in upcoming videos. Vishnu has already reincarnated 9 times, and a 10th will take place, a moment he will return mounted on a white horse to announce the end of the world. Parvati is the mother goddess of Hinduism, being one of several manifestations of Devi, the great primordial goddess. She's the daughter of Himavat, the lord of the Himalayan mountains, and Meena. Parvati is known as the wife of Shiva, one of the most worshipped deities in Hinduism. The goddess is the reincarnation of Sati, the goddess of virtue, Shiva's wife. She ended up dying and coming back as the sweet goddess Parvati. To win back the god of destruction, Parvati had the help of Kamadeva, an Indian deity similar to Eros in Greek mythology. He struck Shiva with one of his arrows while the god meditated. Shiva was consumed by desire and fell in love with Parvati, but Shiva was relentless with Kama due to his interference and fulminated him with his destructive gaze, turning the god of love into ashes. The god didn't appreciate the color of Parvati's skin. Therefore, the goddess, through rituals, was able to acquire a skin with a beautiful golden tone. With her husband, she had several illustrious sons, such as Ganesha, the elephant-headed god, and Skanda, the Hindu god of war, among others. The goddess is known as the fertility goddess, the goddess of marriage, the goddess of beauty, and the goddess of love. Parvati is usually portrayed as a kind figure, and, in the arts, she is usually beside her husband, carrying her children on her lap. The goddess paraded beside her husband on his mighty lion. Despite being a benevolent goddess, Parvati may also present herself as Durga, the warrior goddess. In this form, the goddess became the most feared deity. As Durga, the goddess defeated several demons and won her fights against evil. She was so ruthless that even the other gods feared her, but she can acquire even a scarier look. As goddess Kali, she symbolizes death. Her appearance meant the imminence of death or a great disaster. Her tongue is always bloodthirsty. Therefore, in some rituals, blood is offered to the goddess to lessen her anger. Her best known story is the origin of Ganesha, one of the most worshipped gods in India. The goddess gave life to her son from the herbs, waxes, and oils that Parvati had used in his bath. When he was born, Ganesha didn't have his famous elephant head, but his first head was beheaded by Shiva. Then Shiva restored the young god's life to avoid Parvati's wrath by putting an elephant's head in the place of the former. Currently, the goddess is honored at various festivals in India. As the guardian goddess of marriage, married and unmarried women pray to the goddess for a harmonious and prosperous marriage. As a fertility goddess, she is worshipped by those who seek to reap good fruits in their work. Therefore, the goddess is a prominent figure in the period of great harvests. The images of this goddess are in various temples, especially in those dedicated to her husband Shiva. The loving, kind, and beautiful goddess Parvati is undoubtedly one of the most enchanting deities of Hinduism. Hanuman is an important deity of Hindu culture. He is a monkey god with an important role in some of the most renowned stories of Hinduism, such as the epics Mahabharata and Ramayana. Hanuman is considered the god of learning and wind. The monkey god took advantage of the favorable winds to fly through the skies at high speed. He was also a warrior god with an army of monkeys under his command. Hanuman is the son of Queen Anjana with Vayu, the god of the winds. He may have been one of the many incarnations of Lord Shiva, one of the main deities of Hinduism. Hanuman was born very hungry. Seeing the sun, he tried to eat it, though thinking it was a fruit. Indra, the god of thunder, stopped him from biting the sun, striking him with lightning. Dead, Hanuman fell from the sky. Hanuman's father was outraged by the fact that Indra had struck his son, and so the winds ceased. The absence of winds created many problems. To be reconciled with the god's father, Shiva resurrected Hanuman, and the gods made the young man an even more powerful god. The winds blew again. As a youngster, the god was impetuous and misbehaved. In his pranks, Hanuman ended up creating problems for the rishis, who were great sages of the Hindu tradition. They decided to curse Hanuman. The god then forgot the true potential of his powers. Hanuman had to go through a long process of self-knowledge to regain his potential. During this process, the god became a wiser and humbler deity. The god had several special powers, including the ability to reach absurd proportions, shrinking whenever he wished. His strength was absurd. He was able to carry one of the giant Himalayan mountains. In the epic Ramayana, which tells the story of the hero Rama, one of Vishnu's most famous avatars, Hanuman has an important role. The god was Rama's servant in his adventures, helping him conquer his crown. During these adventures, he led his army of monkeys against Rama's enemies. He also fought several demons. Hanuman's humbleness in serving Rama is represented in various works of art. The figure of the monkey god is present in almost every temple dedicated to Rama. The monkey-like god continues to be worshipped in several temples in India. Many of them are full of monkeys, which, knowing they will not suffer any reprisals, cause endless mischief. Hanuman is worshipped by the humbleness of someone who seeks knowledge and by his warlike image. Hanuman symbolizes the human mind, which is unstable by nature. It constantly changes its focus, like a monkey that jumps from one branch to another. That is also exemplified by Hanuman, who can fly from one place to another at an incredible speed. As long as it is moved by primary instincts, in an attempt to seek pleasure and avoid pain at all costs, the man's mind will not find peace. Only when he decides to scrutinize his self and seek self-knowledge will his mind reach its full potential and achieve extraordinary feats, as Hanuman did. The god is also revered in Buddhist temples, but there his accomplishments and stories are quite different from traditional Hindu tales. Hanuman is a symbol of true devotion and unconditional surrender. Therefore, he is one of the most revered gods of Hinduism. Ganesha, the elephant-headed god, is surely one of the most popular gods among the Hindu pantheon. He is a god associated with wisdom and success. But his appearance was not always like the one we know today, since the god was born with a human head. Ganesha was raised from the oils and herbs used in the cleansing of Parvati's body. Using this material, she molded a boy-shaped idol. The goddess gave life to the statue, and Ganesha emerged from it, who, at the time, still did not have his famous elephant head. Parvati raised Ganesha so that he would watch the door of her palace while the goddess took her bath. The young god was born while Shiva had left on one of his journeys, and therefore they did not recognize each other as father and son. Ganesha had a strong bond with his mother. He was always protecting her, sometimes to the point of jealousy and overprotection. While the goddess Parvati was taking her bath, Ganesha protected her mother's privacy, preventing anyone from entering the palace. While Parvati refreshed herself, Shiva, her husband, returned from his quest and wanted to meet his wife again. But when he tried to walk to his wife, the god was blocked by Ganesha. Enraged, the god ordered his son to step out of the way. But Ganesha, who had no idea of his interlocutor's identity, told the invader he would not let him take another step. Both gods quarreled, and the youngster fought bravely, showing plenty of skill. Shiva was consumed by wrath and beheaded his son. Parvati, who had heard the noise of their clash, rushed to help his son and was horrified to find him beheaded and lying on the ground. With her heart shattered, Parvati ordered Shiva to bring his son back to life, otherwise she would assume the shape of Durga, the warrior goddess, unleashing her wrath. To put an end to his wife's suffering, the god of destruction decided to restore Ganesha's life, but he needed a new head to do that. Shiva ordered his servants, known as Ganas, to bring him the head of the first beast they encountered. The elephant was the first to appear. They brought the animal's head to Shiva, who placed it on what had once been his son's head. Ganesha's life was restored, and despite his exotic appearance, the young god felt quite pleased with his exquisite looks. Together, Shiva and Parvati raised the young god, who would become one of India's most popular. This is just the origin of the story of the elephant god, copiously worshipped in India for being a divinity who removes the obstacles that prevent mortals from achieving success. Our channel has much more to talk about Lord Ganesha, since he is one of the most worshipped deities among all Hindu gods.